And there's no doubt about that. That is big trouble for England. They needed both of them there overnight, and Garner has got through with a magnificent delivery. A bouncing leg cutter. Both of them had to play at it, nothing he could do about it. And Geoffrey Dujon has taken the catch. Nick Cook came out and saw out the remaining 5 balls of Joel Garner's over as night watchman. 135 for 6 at the close. Top scorers Fowler 50 and Gower 43. In the face of some hostile bowling from Marshall, 3 for 38, Garner 2 for 28, and some very good off-spinning from Roger Harper, 16 overs, 8 maidens, 1 for 30. So on Monday morning, England start off 103 runs ahead with 4 wickets in hand. Welcome to the highlights, a day that began with England deep in trouble. It looked, in fact, as though it might even be the last day of the match, not just the 4th day. 135 for 6 they were at the start of play, with Downton 14 not out and Cook 0 not out. 135 for 6, and that meant they were 103 runs ahead with just 4 wickets in hand. Conditions were good. There were 1 or 2 very black clouds around, and there's a possibility that that might just help the pace bowlers a little, might move the ball around, and certainly it did so for Malcolm Marshall as we pick him up now in the very first over of the day. It's the 5th ball. He's bowling to Downton, and no runs are on the board. First runs of the morning for Downton. There'll be no shortage of applause here today, even though it's a smaller crowd. Every run absolutely vital to England's slim chances. Can never write off the side that has to bowl last. I wonder if Malcolm Marshall's had some reaction from the work he did on Saturday, because he's off a short run and he's only bowling medium pace. And he's got it, even though Richards came across in front of him. Clive Lloyd caught that. That's got to be one of the best catches we'll see in a long time. He must have been obscured and put off by Viv Richards, but still managed to catch it. And Marshall has struck at medium pace.
And if you watch carefully, I think you'll see that Nick Cook's trying to get the bat out the way in the end, and it just hits the middle of the bottom. And a brilliant catch there by Clive Lloyd. Richards diving in front of him. But a very fine catch indeed, and Nick Cook returning to the pavilion with 0 against his name.
Off the mark. Oh, close, more than that, it's out, and it looked absolutely plumb from here. That was beaten for a little bit of extra pace. Marshall is still only medium fast this morning, but he's picked up 2 wickets. And Pringle goes for 2. LBW to Marshall, it's 140 for 8 now.
Not much doubt about this. He's in the main swung the ball away this morning. And that just coming on, moving slightly into Pringle and right in front of his stumps
there. 4 runs. It's a good shot too from Paul Hallett.
Fine stroke this from Paul Allott. Remember, in his Test match debut he did get 50, so he's no mug with the bat. It was a very high-class shot indeed.
And he's gone. Another one to Marshall, 6 for him, equaling the most number of wickets he's taken in a Test match innings. And he's doing it all at, well, I suppose about 3/4 rat power.
And this really is a terrific delivery. Pitching there and keeping really very low indeed. And just trapping him in front of the off stump.
24.4 overs, 9 maidens, 6 for 44. England 114 ahead. 4 runs to Willis. Brings up the 150 for England. Some cheer from the morning. Hasn't been much before that. Wickets falling everywhere. 150 for 9. Willis goes to 4. Downton is 19. Still fighting out there. Shot. There's 4. That may well turn out to be Downton's tactics here. He might reckon it's better to try and pick up 8 runs from the last 2 balls and then take the risk on Willis getting a single. And he's gone this time. Inside edge, I suspect. Marshall has 7 wickets. His best ever figures in Test match cricket. He's taken all 4 to fall this morning. And right on the point of half an hour after the start of play, England, having been 135 for 6 at the start, have been dismissed for 159, and Marshall has 7 for 53 from 26 overs and 9 maidens. And whatever ovation he gets from this crowd and his teammates is thoroughly deserved. A marvellous performance. The best ever bowling figures by a West Indian at Headingley, beating the previous best by Frank Worrell back in 1957, where Worrell took 7 for 70. Marshall 7 for 53 from 26 overs and 9 maidens. A sensational performance. Indeed, it was a sensational performance to pick up those last 4 wickets. Downton for 27, then Cook, Pringle and Allott for not very many runs at all. Willis once again not out for 5, his 55th not out in Test match cricket. 159 all out, and the West Indies bowling figures, just look at that line on top. Malcolm Marshall, 2 fractures of the left thumb, 26 overs, 9 maidens, 7 for 53. Garner took 2 wickets, and the other 2, Holding and Harper, didn't bowl today, and Baptiste didn't even bowl in the innings. So that meant that West Indies needed 128 to win, and that, I reckon, is about 80 short of what England really needed to set them a proper target. Here's the first over now, and it's the second ball. And it's the second ball, in fact, with a new ball, because the first one was damaged and had to be replaced by umpire Constant rushing off the field. Willis is the bowler. He's coming in from the Kirkstall Lane end. Greenwich is taking strike, and no runs are on the board.
It's a fairly normal way for Gordon Greenwich to get off the mark these days. Over pitch ball cracked through mid-on for 4. He loves to get away with a resounding thwack. It's usually a square cut, in fact. He's made it today with a very good on drive. There's 4 more, and Gordon Greenwich is in a hurry. In fairness, there were 2 half volleys, but half volley is a half volley to Greenwich, no matter who bowls it and when he bowls it. Allott, then to Haynes. It's over pitched. Another juicy half volley, and Haynes not going to miss out on those either. It's 4 more. There's a half volley, and there's 4 more runs. Perfect illustration there of the on drive.
You can't hit him any better than this.
Weather set fine here. No sunshine, but clouds are fairly high. The light's good, and Willis will bowl to Haynes. Runs there. He's found a big gap on the onside. It's Haynes. Just about to stop it before it reaches the rope. They just stroll very casually 3 runs. Takes them on to the 30 mark.
Up for West Indies. I haven't got a count of how many half-century partnerships they've had, but you can bet there's quite a few that have come along. 60 times together for Greenidge and Haynes. Willis to Greenidge. Shot. Beautiful timing, 4 runs. Nice shot by Desmond Haynes. It'll run down the hill. It'll beat Pringle. And a good firm stroke from Haynes through that gap between stumps and mid-on. Haynes goes to 24. Greenidge 33, 67 for naught.
Derek Pringle taking over from the Kirkstall Lane end.
Starts off with a nice slow, medium, long hop.
Well, what can you say? You can't bowl it any worse than that. If he knew he was going to bowl after lunch, he should have been out in front having a loosener up.
That's going to be 4. Possibly off around about the glove area, just over the top of Downton's outstretched hands. Probably the first quickly, see if he can come back from the second. Indeed he can. And so the 100 will go up on the board. And yet again, these two have got the side away with a century partnership. 46 of those to Greenidge and 41 to Haynes.
It was a good shot in the end. That kicked apart from the spin that was on it. And even though it's inevitable that West Indies are going to win this match, there's no let-up out there. This pair, Greenidge and Haynes, have a matter of pride to spur them on. They're going to try and get through without losing a wicket. and keep up the standard of the West Indies, which has been so remarkable in recent times. And they won't do it now, because Haynes has gone full of the leading edge out at extra cover off Nick Cook. Well, that must have pitched round about Midland leg, I would think.
You can see the line of the bat. He's whipping up wide of mid-on, and it just straightens. And Fowler picks up a marvellous catch there at extra cover.
Put him down. David Gower, who's not had the best 3 test matches of all time so far. Doesn't even have anything running properly for him in the field. Very safe pair of hands normally.
And a very straightforward first slip catch.
And he's gone. Cook has picked up his second wicket. It's a bit late now. And Greenwich just missed its half century. Inside edge onto the pad. Paul Terry takes catch in Test match cricket, and the West Indies now 108 for 2. Too few to play with, 127. But Nick Cook showing now with 2 for 14 from 7 overs that it might have been possible to put a lot of pressure on the West Indians, given another 80-odd runs. And of course you must take into account a player like Viv Richards, who just comes out and whacks the first one without being quite sure that it was going to spin or go on with the arm, thrashes it past point. Oh no! Paul Allett at mid-on.
Well, this is quite remarkable. Perfectly straightforward, flip to mid-on, and down it goes.
Well, he's absolutely right. Don't know from where he picked up the billboard, but it's going to be hanging above his mantelpiece, I should think, for quite some years. 4 more. That's a good shot. No ball as well. 127 for 2, so everything is all levelled up now, and West Indies need just 1 more run to win. All the West Indian supporters ready to rush on. That is it. Some of the players are going to make it. Another century partnership for Gordon Greenwich and Desmond Haynes there. 49 to Greenwich, 43 to Haynes. You can bet your life those two were looking for an unbroken partnership to take West Indies through to victory. But in fact, Nick Cook struck twice. Larry Gomes not out 2 and was named man of the match later on by Tony Lewis, former England captain. Vivian Richards, a very easy 22 with some unorthodox strokes. 131 for 2. Willis none for 40. Allett none for 24. Cook 2 for 27. Bowled pretty well out there. And Derek Pringle, no wicket for 25. So victory for the West Indies by 8 wickets, and a very, very solid victory it was to England, very much in the game for 2 days, 2 and a bit days in fact, and then finally steamrolled by the West Indies machine. And after the match, after that victory by 8 wickets, Peter West talked with the 2 captains. First of all, Clive Lloyd.
Another very big win, Clive, and with it the series. This is becoming a regular feature. Well played.
Cheers, thank you, Peter.
What are your thoughts on this latest victory?
Well, I thought it was a magnificent effort. Looking at the situation, where we were down to 4 bowlers in the first inning, and then we had, Larry batting as well as he did, and then Malcolm coming out to give him a hand. When really I thought, well, Actually, what I did say to the umpire early on was that I would like Malcolm to bowl in the second innings, and just surprised him. Because I didn't know, I just thought that I'll just wait till the pain subside, because I'm sure that he is having some excruciating pain because it's just been broken. And with 2 days rest or 3 days rest, just given it, he'd have been right. But he wanted to bowl. I mean, even just after the cast had been put on.
And you gave him the first over today.
Yeah. Well, sorry.
You gave him the first over.
Yes. Well, the point is that he wanted to open. There's no doubt about that. I mean, and he gets a bit of bounce, and he swings it around. So Michael was not so happy with opening. He didn't mind being first change. So I said, well, fine, if you feel like it, why not?
What's the captain's authentic story about Malcolm getting into bat? Now, who decided when he ought to get padded up?
Well, what has happened? I went into the toilet and I had this quick flash. I said, well, I will ask him to bat. And I said, well, Malcolm, pad up, just jovially, because. And he said, fine. And he went into his bag and got everything going. And then all of a sudden somebody got out, so we just sort of hurried him up and he went out, and he was quite happy to do it. I think it's the spirit that we have in the side. We have people like Vivian Richards in Australia who couldn't walk pretty well because he had something was wrong with his hip. He took an injection, went out and made 100. So it shows you the type of spirit that we have in the side.
David, when you were appointed captain for this series, you knew you were in for a testing assignment.
Well, I had heard 1 or 2 rumours that the West Indies were quite a strong side. And I suppose we were always going to start underdogs. We were always going to start with the odds against us winning the series. And, we've now finally proved that point, or not quite finally, but we've managed to prove that we aren't going to win the series, which is obviously very disappointing for me. And despite the apparent odds, despite the differences in the side, it still does hurt. It's still very disappointing.
Did you feel that on the second day, Friday, if England had had the rub of the green, if things had gone your way, you could have had them out for less than 200?
Well, yes, we had them virtually out for 200 or so, and it was very frustrating when Michael Holding got together with Larry Gomes to take them past our total. It was a sort of stand that has bowlers gnashing their teeth all the while, and you see the ball disappearing over mid-wicket for 6 one moment and disappearing past the edge of the bat the next moment. And really at that stage we lost the psychological advantage of the first innings lead. And had we had that lead, and had we been in a position with myself and Graham batting well at 120 for 2 or so, things would look far rosier.
Right. And then, of course, on the Saturday night, Ian Botham getting out so late was a crushing disappointment, wasn't it? It was an impossible ball, but if you'd had him here today, you might have got the extra run.
Well, yes, obviously with Ian present at the crease, things do look different. It's not just Ian, of course. Cricket is a team game. And we lost myself, Graham, Alan Lamb, who'd made a lot of runs in the series so far and was playing well. He went for 3, which is a big difference. And to be followed by Ian so quickly, obviously, it was a big slump.
You've had trouble with your own form in this series. You look to be in much happier nick in the second go.
I was enjoying batting, yes, that's right. I did feel good. I felt as though things were going my way for a change. And as such, again, it's disappointing to get out for only 40-odd, as opposed to making the most of it and taking it through for a lot more.
Can we concentrate on some of the successes, like Lamb's 100, another good innings by Fowler, Broad, Paul Allen's
Well, yes,
bowling?
I always like to look on the bright side, and that's right, Alan Lamb played well again. To make successive hundreds against his side is obviously no mean achievement. And then for Paul to come into his first Test match for a couple of years and bowl as well as that and take 5 wickets is obviously another bonus. Again, there's been a few little pluses keeping us going.
With the benefit of hindsight, you might like to have had Paul Allen on that last day at Lord's.
Well, I mean, conditions were different at Lord's. Lord's was a very flat wicket, certainly compared to this one out here. And perhaps a little line in length, but a control might have made it a little better for us.
Anyway, you don't feel that all the pressures are getting you down, David?
Well, I hope not. I'm trying to maintain the original even keel, trying to keep a smile on my face now and again. And I mean, certainly the way I look at it, there's plenty of time to go. I mean, this is my first series as a captain. And there are some people would say if you lose a series, I mean, you can always be re-examined, but I'm not going to worry about that. I shall just keep doing my best as captain.
Clive Lloyd has said to me that England, with quite a number of new, young, emerging players, need time. He recalled a time and patience that the West Indies needed time not so long ago, well, a decade and more ago, when I think he said they went 21 matches without much success. So there's always hope, there's always a new horizon, there's always something to play for.
I hope there's a corner coming up fairly soon which we can follow round. which leads to a few wins. It's certainly never pleasant to lose. I mean, I've got a good enough memory to remember when we did last win a Test match, and I would like to do that again very quickly.
Thanks very much, David.
Thank you.
Well, a very happy-looking Clive Lloyd and David Gower, suitably despondent and determined at the same time. A lot of ground to make up there for England in this series, and the West Indians, as we've been saying throughout these 3 Test matches, are a very, very good side indeed.